Hello guys, it is me again, it's HorrorFan34, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to day 24 for my 31 Days of Horror in October. Now that we are getting on to day 24, I figured I'd review another film that many people might consider a horror film, but it's got horror elements in it because it's more of like a mystery thriller kind of like movie, but it's about a serial killer. And it's got some really creepy images in it too, like really creepy stuff. But I'll get into that in a minute. But basically, like I said before, with this 31 Days of Horror in October, I've been reviewing a lot of. I've been reviewing one horror film per day. These are some of my personal favorite horror films. I've been reviewing classics, slashers, remakes, obscure ones, underrated ones, and things like that. So I figured I'd review another underrated one that doesn't get talked about a whole lot. It was released in 1999, directed by Russell Mulcahy, and I forgot to mention this film when I was doing my top 10 favorite underrated serial killer films, and I realized I forgot about this film, and I'm like, crap. But, it was too late by then, so I'm like, I'll talk about this at some other time, at some other point, so why not talk about it for my 31 Days of Horror in October? And of course, by the title, you can tell what it's going to be on. Resurrection. Now, Resurrection was a film, like I said, that was released in '99, directed by Russell Mulcahy, same guy that did Highlander, did this film. You have Christopher Lambert from Fortress, among others, and you have Leland Orser as and it's a serial killer film, where it's basically about these two cops, or two detectives, I guess you would say, played by Christopher Lambert and Leland Orser. And basically it's about them. They're two detectives, and they're trying to track down the serial killer. And the serial killer, this is like really one of those, it takes place around, I guess I'd say like around like Easter, like around the Easter time, because what the subject is with this film, because basically it's about a guy who's killing people, and he's like taking their body parts because he wants to rebuild the body of Jesus. So it's about these two detectives trying to track down this guy, and that's pretty much what the film's about. Now, getting into this film, got hated on a lot by critics. I don't know why. I think it's a pretty good movie in my opinion. Like I said before, I know people really wouldn't consider this a horror movie, but it does have some creepy stuff in it, like towards the end, and I'll get into that. But it's got horror elements in it because it is a serial killer film, and it's kind of a creepy concept when you really think about it too. It's got some really good creepy images. It's directed very well by Russell Mulcahy, and also even Christopher Lambert even helped produce this film, and he also stars in it. And Christopher Lambert I've always enjoyed as an actor, from Fortress, among others. And he does a great job here as the lead detective. And I think his partner does a fine job as well. And it's really one of those films where it's like an interesting kind of idea, where it's kind of different from any other serial killer movies, where it's a guy trying to rebuild the body of Jesus. It's just kind of a pretty like messed up plot. And like even like stuff right here, like some of that stuff's with like creepy image right there. And even on the back, you get some creepy images there too. But yeah, I just think this film has a lot going for it. It's a really good mystery, kind of like horror film. I think the two guys who play the two detectives do a great job, especially Christopher Lambert. And then when you get onto some of the creepy images, basically what ends up happening is that in this one scene where the cops go into the cops go into this place where they think the killer is hiding at. And then they find that he's completed, because he's basically taken people's body parts after he kills them and using them to rebuild the body of Jesus. And basically, the cops get to this place where they think the killer is at, but no one's there. But they find all the body parts he collected to rebuild the body, and it's like hung up on a cross, and it's like all the body parts are like decomposed, and it's like really. It's actually really quite disturbing, because just the way that like this guy goes about killing people is really brutal, and it's just a really creepy idea. And I love that it takes place around like Easter time, which I believe takes place around the Easter holidays, like around that time. So I think it's kind of an interesting kind of like concept and idea, because it's really different from like other serial killer films, kind of like, or like Seven or things like that. But I say if you're a big fan of Seven, I say you like this film as well. I'd probably say give this one a look. And on top of that, so you have a really creepy scene on top of a hospital where the killer is carrying this baby, and the Christopher Lambert has to try to save the baby and things like that. It gets really intense, and it's pouring rain, things like that. But I think, like I said, this film has a lot going for it. It's a really interesting idea. It's got some really creepy images. I think it's directed very well by Russell Mulcahy. I mean, I think he's a very solid director. Christopher Lambert and the other cast members do a great job. Really creepy idea, and it's a great serial killer film that doesn't get talked about a whole lot. And it's got some really good horror elements in it too, because of how like the subject matter and how like a creepy concept it is, the whole thing. And it's R-rated, it doesn't hold back, and I think this film just has a lot going for it. I don't want to say too much more about Resurrection because I don't want to ruin it for people who haven't seen it yet, but if you haven't seen Resurrection, I say you give this one a look if you like serial killer films. Very dark, it's very brooding, it's very disturbing, it's got some creepy images, great acting. I love it, especially Christopher Lambert, because I'm a big fan of Christopher Lambert. Russell Mulcahy does a solid job. It's got some really great music as well. And even Christopher Lambert even came up with the story. So Christopher Lambert's name's pretty much all over this movie. Because he starred in it, he produced it, he came up with the story, and things like that. But, yeah, but Resurrection, I say it's worth a look. Definitely. So that's pretty much it for my review for Resurrection, and thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Alright guys, take care.